Welcome back to my channel, Coin Vault USA. What if the coin you're looking at right now isn't just a $1 coin? What if hidden inside this small piece of metal is a story, a clue and a detail that most people never notice? And what if that overlooked detail is exactly why collectors continue searching through old jars, forgotten drawers, and inherited collections decades later? Stay with me, because this 1979 dollar has more secrets than most people realize, and one of them could completely change the way you look at this coin. At first glance, it looks ordinary. A small dollar coin dated 1979. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic. Most people would probably spend it without a second thought. But here's the first question. If it's so ordinary, why are thousands of collectors still talking about coins from this year? What are they looking for that everyone else misses? Take a closer look at the front of the coin. You can see the word Liberty across the top. You can see the year 1979 at the bottom. You can see the portrait of a woman. But who is she? And why was she important enough to appear on a United States dollar coin? This is Susan B. Anthony, one of the most influential women in American history. She spent much of her life fighting for equal rights and helping shape a movement that changed the future of the country. But here's something interesting. When this coin was first released, many people didn't like it. In fact, some Americans confused it with a quarter because of its size. Imagine that. A coin created to make history, yet many people barely noticed it. But what if that lack of attention is exactly what makes it interesting today? Now look just below Susan B. Anthony's shoulder. Do you see that tiny letter D? Most people never even notice it. Yet collectors immediately look for it. Why? Because that single letter tells us where the coin was made. The D stands for Denver Mint. And whenever collectors examine a coin, one of the very first things they check is the mint mark. But here's the mystery. Why would a tiny letter matter so much? Could one small detail really separate an ordinary coin from a coin that collectors desperately want? Keep that question in mind because we're not done with the mint mark yet. Now let's talk about something almost nobody notices. Look at the shape of the coin. Most people would call it round and move on. But if you study the edge carefully, you'll notice something unusual. The coin isn't perfectly circular in appearance. Around the edge are subtle flat sections that create an 11-sided visual effect. It's a design feature many owners never realize is there. So, here's another question. How many people have carried this coin in their pocket without ever noticing one of its most distinctive characteristics? And that's where things start getting interesting. Because collectors don't just see a dollar coin, they see details. They see patterns. They see clues. Every mark, every line, every design. Choice can tell a story. And sometimes those stories lead to surprising discoveries. Now let's flip the coin over. The reverse side immediately grabs your attention. There's a powerful eagle with its wings spread wide. It looks strong, confident, almost as if it's preparing to take flight. But the eagle isn't the biggest mystery on this side of the coin. Look carefully above the eagle's head. Do you see that circular object? Most people never ask what it is. Some glance at it and move on. Others never notice it at all. But once you see it, you can't ignore it. That object represents the moon. And suddenly this coin becomes much more than a dollar. Now you're holding a connection to one of humanity's greatest achievements. But here's the question that makes collectors pause. Why would the moon appear on a $1 coin? And what message were the designers trying to send? We'll go deeper into that mystery later. Because another important clue is hiding in plain sight. You see, experienced collectors rarely focus on only one detail. They're always asking the next question. They're always looking for the next clue. And when they find a coin like this, they begin examining every part of it. The date, the mint mark, the lettering, the strike quality, the condition, and most importantly, whether anything unusual stands out. Because sometimes the smallest difference creates the biggest excitement. Now let's address the question everyone has been waiting for. Could a 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar ever be valuable? The answer may surprise you. Most examples are worth modest amounts. That's true, but collectors aren't searching for average examples. They're searching for exceptional examples. They're searching for unusual examples. And they're searching for details that other people overlook. That's where the treasure hunt begins. Imagine finding an old coin collection in a box that's been untouched for years. Imagine discovering a 1979 dollar inside. Imagine noticing something that nobody else noticed. Would you know what to look for? Would you recognize the clues? Or would you accidentally spend something that deserved a closer look? And this leads us to the biggest question of all. Why do some collectors become so obsessed with examining coins from this era? What hidden characteristics are they hoping to find? And could one overlooked detail be responsible for the incredible stories and headline-grabbing valuations that keep people searching year after year? In the next part, we're going deeper into the mysteries surrounding this coin, the details collectors check first, the features that attract attention, and the reason some examples generate far more excitement than anyone expects. Because trust me, we've only scratched the surface of what this 1979 dollar might be hiding. What if the biggest clue on this 1979 Susan? B, Anthony dollar isn't the date, isn't the eagle, and isn't even the Denver mint mark? What if the real mystery is why collectors continue studying coins like this decades after they first entered circulation? In part 1, we uncovered the woman behind the design, the meaning of the D mint mark, the unusual 11-sided appearance, and the mysterious moon above the eagle. But now we're getting into the part that every serious collector cares about, the details that separate an ordinary coin from a coin worth taking a second look at. The first thing experienced collectors understand is that value doesn't always come from age. That's a mistake many people make. They assume that if a coin is old, it must be valuable. But collectors know something different. They know that rarity, condition, demand, and unusual characteristics often matter far more than age alone. That's why a coin like this continues to attract attention. Not because it's the oldest coin in America, but because collectors are always asking the same question. Is there something special about this one? And that's where the hunt begins. Imagine two people holding identical-looking 1979 dollars. To most people, they appear exactly the same. Same date, same design, same mint mark. Yet one person puts the coin back into circulation, while the other examines it under magnification. Why? Because collectors understand that sometimes the smallest details create the biggest stories. A tiny difference in appearance, a striking characteristic, an unusual feature, or an exceptionally preserved example can instantly make a coin far more interesting than its face value suggests. Now take another look at the portrait of Susan B. Anthony. Look at the lettering. Look at the stars. Look at the rim. Every section of the coin tells part of its story. The challenge is knowing what to look for. Most people see a dollar. Collectors see evidence. They see craftsmanship. They see history frozen in metal. And every time they inspect a coin, they're asking themselves whether this might be the one example that stands apart from the rest. But here's something even more fascinating. Many coins spend years hidden away in collections, boxes, drawers, and forgotten containers. Some are inherited. Some are discovered during cleaning projects. Some are found in old family collections that haven't been opened for decades. And every time that happens, the same excitement returns. What if there's something unusual inside? What if one coin has a feature nobody noticed before? What if an ordinary-looking dollar turns out to be far more interesting than expected? That's the psychology behind coin collecting. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about the possibility that the next coin you examine could reveal something unexpected. And that's exactly why collectors continue searching. Now let's return to the reverse side. The eagle stands proudly above the lunar surface, creating one of the most recognizable designs on a modern American dollar coin. The symbolism is powerful. Strength, achievement, exploration, ambition. Every element was carefully chosen. But here's the question. Why do certain designs remain memorable while others are forgotten? Perhaps because great designs tell a story, and this coin tells several stories at once. It honors an important historical figure, while also reflecting a period when America was looking toward the future. Yet despite all these details, one question still remains. Why do some collectors spend so much time examining coins from 1979? The answer lies in curiosity. Curiosity drives every collector. Curiosity drives every search. Curiosity drives every discovery. Because nobody wants to be the person who overlooks an important detail. Nobody wants to discover years later that they spent a coin that deserved a closer look. And that's why coins like this continue to generate discussion even decades after they were produced. Now let's talk about value. When people hear stories about extraordinary coin prices, they often imagine that every coin from the same year must be worth a fortune. But experienced collectors know that isn't how the hobby works. Exceptional prices are usually connected to exceptional circumstances, extraordinary preservation, Extraordinary rarity, extraordinary demand. That's why every coin must be evaluated individually. Yet the dream remains the same. The possibility that an overlooked coin might turn out to be something special. And that dream keeps collectors searching. It keeps them learning. It keeps them checking every detail. And it keeps coins like this 1979 D-dollar relevant year after year. So the next time you come across one of these coins, don't rush past it. Take a moment. Study the date. Check the mint mark. Examine the design. Look at the moon above the eagle. Appreciate the history behind Susan B. Anthony. And most importantly, remember that every collector started the same way, by asking questions about a coin that other people ignored. Because sometimes the most fascinating discoveries begin with a simple question. What am I really holding? If you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of the 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us for more stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, collecting secrets, and fascinating discoveries from the world of numismatics. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and keep checking your coins, because you never know which one might surprise you.